I don't even want to use the term special guests or something that mediocre, man. We got an icon in the building, man. Let's just call it for what it is, man. This individual right here, if we started just going down the list of accolades, it would take up the whole freaking hour. This is how accomplished this brother is, and as we do with all of our guests, I have to ask you to bear with me while I give you your proper introduction.
I'll shut up then.
So that, yeah, without a doubt, because it ain't gonna be too long, but I got to give it to you the way you deserve it, big brother, because it's certain people that you think about in the history of music and in our genre and the history of hip hop that you can legitimately ask the question to yourself: if this person had never been born, how would the game be affected? And I can say honestly that if this man had never been in existence, hip-hop would not be the same as it is. It would be such a void that we wouldn't even be aware that exists. Wow. Because he has contributed so much to the hip-hop, to music industry, period, man. He's a multi-platinum producer. He's one of the greatest producers of all time. He's one of the greatest DJs of all time. How you on 2 GOAT lists? You know, they talk about the rappers. They always list the GOAT rappers, but they never list the GOAT DJs and producers, to my knowledge. This man is on 2 of those lists at the same time. He, in my opinion, is on the Mount Rushmore of both of those. He has worked with, of course, he's one of the founding members of the legendary group Gang Starr, but among the people he's worked with, man, he's worked with people like KRS-One, Nas, Big Daddy Kane, Janet Jackson, Christina Aguilera, Black Eyed Peas, Common, Jay-Z, Icy. If you go on Wikipedia and just type in the DJ Premier production discography, you just be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, because this man has put a stamp on the game that very few people in the industry, period, can match. So I'm honored tonight to have our brother, the OG, the legend, the icon, DJ Premier's in the building, man. What's going on, fam?
Wow. Thank you, K-rino.
Man, look.
And you know, I give you the exact same in return. You see it when you call, it's like, oh shit, K-rino. It's like a big deal to me, you know what I'm saying? Because of the respect that we have for you as an MC, as a lyricist, and as a fighter of righteousness, you know what I'm saying? Which is very hard for a lot. I mean, we all speak about the struggle in different ways, but I can tell yours is beyond authentic, and it's so from the heart that it's a message, but it's still hard and it's still raw for the streets. I mean, to me, you're like what Public Enemy is coming from a New York perspective, but you're that from a Texas, Houston, H-Town's perspective, but in your own way, without even biting any style. You have an incredible. I'm into voices. Yeah. I love your voice. I think your voice is one of the most standout voices in hip hop when it comes to what I like as a DJ. And then on top of that, your delivery and just like I said, you're like that possum we saw. We saw a possum and a squirrel about to square off, which is real Texas shit right there. And just now seeing that, it's like, hey, those possums, you don't want to mess with them.
Yeah, trust me.
They got sharp teeth. You got sharp teeth.
You know, and
I'm not calling you a possum.
Oh no, hey man, that's first. Look. Y'all, I didn't pay him to say that. You know, I just want y'all to know. Look, bro, we wanna, and I so appreciate that, brother. But I wanna prop you up, man. I thank you, man.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, man.
We glad to have you here, man. Shout out to my homie, the OG Murder One South Park Coalition.
What's up?
Holding it down. And No Regret Media is in the building. Keystone Young Pro holding down on the camera work, man. Without a doubt, man. We want to get straight into it, big brother, because we only got an hour, so we want to cover as much as we can with you.
And do I need to keep it clean? Cause I don't
yes, sir.
Got you.
Your origins in hip hop, man. A lot of people don't know. The old school people know, but a lot of people don't know that you're from the city of Houston, man. Yes. So what was it like? What was your origins in music, as far as what attracted you to it, and in particular hip hop, and then your migration to New York? How did all that come about? Just break that down.
I was born in 5th Ward. Shout out to Lockwood Hospital. Everybody know Lockwood.
No doubt.
It's crazy because the doctor that delivered me and my sisters, his name was B.T. Hollins, and he actually just passed away not even 5 years ago, and it was like noted in the Houston Chronicle and everything about how he had a long history of being one of the most popular doctors in the Fifth Ward to deliver babies. And his name was B.T. Hollins. And so even as my childhood, once my father is a teacher, and so is my mom. My father got a job at Prairie View A&M University, so he was living in they were all living in the Fifth Ward in the beginning. And then once my sisters lived there, but once I was born, he got a job at Prairie View. So we moved to Prairie View, and we used to call them the block houses because they were sitting on the bricks, which y'all know the houses sit on the bricks out here too.
No doubt.
And then, the snakes be up underneath and all that, and they come through the toilet, and and you be sitting on the floor. When you hear that doop sound, you know that's a snake coming up. If you look, they actually come through those garden snakes. And I know that a lot of houses are built like that to this day, even like in Third Ward
and Fifth Ward.
So that's those were our houses. That's how our house was constructed until my father made enough money to build his own house. Built his own house, which we still live in to this day. And once he got the job at Prairie View, we started going to schools in Waller, and at that time Prairie View also had a school, but it was an all black school at the time. Then it integrated with whites, so my sisters weren't even used to going to school with white people. They were used to being with only blacks. And we're from obviously Prairie View is an all black community,
no doubt.
So we're used to the whole band thing, like even with the bands, with the whole battle of the bands now, with the drum lines and all that. Prairie View been putting it down like that since my childhood. I'm 52 years old, and my whole childhood was, man, our band be rocking, and in TSU and Prairie View have always been rivals, like from my childhood in elementary school all the way up to now. I know that's one of the biggest rivals when it comes to sports. So as I grew into going to school in Waller, what I'm saying, it's either, because those only two choices is either Hempstead or Waller when it comes to Prairie View, because Prairie View started to just be a college only, even though our junior high was in Prairie View. I went to junior high in PV. Then when I went to high school, I went back to Waller. And so once I graduated, that's really around the era, 73, 74, 75, 1973 is always looked at as the birth date of hip-hop culture, August 11th, 1973. Obviously, what we were listening to, we ain't had no rap music, so it was always, and at that time it wasn't R&B, it was called soul. So soul music was the only thing that I was really familiar with, because my mother is an art teacher, my father's a biology teacher. When my mom used to paint in the house, she just playing all the hot jams on the record player, and she used to always say, "Don't you put your fingerprints on them records." That was a beating. That was a beating.
Yeah, no question.
You know what I'm saying? You got. Well, we said whoopings, but
same thing.
Yeah, but we would always get beat if a fingerprint was on the record. So even then, it was like, do not do nothing but touch the edges. So I was always fascinated by the way a record looked on a label. Look almost like a toy that you play with, and then the mechanics of the turntable, how when you hit the button, it would drop the record, and the needle would drop on it. I was so fascinated by that I would actually take it apart when she would be at work.
You playing with your life.
And which is how I learned electronics. I mean, I literally was starting to become one of the people that in the neighborhood that everybody would come by our house to have me fix their televisions. Radios, put sound systems in. Like, I was that dedicated to the whole, anything with my hands that had to deal with drilling, things like that. That was really my upbringing, So I went from city to just straight country. Because then once we integrated with white people, we got cool with them because I played sports at the time. I played football, played baseball at the time. My sisters were both basketball, volleyball, so. Track, like everybody in our family was always into sports. My mother to this very day is 89 years old, and there's a rule: when you get up in the morning, grab that Houston Chronicle out the driveway and have it on my sports section. This is to this very day at 89 years old. That's the first thing I do when I woke up this morning. Got the paper, put it on the sports section, because once we get her dressed, because she's older, so she needs a little more of an assistance. That's still a routine, and so I'm raised with the values of a mother and a father in the house. them not taking any mess from me, you know, and I used to talk back, but every talk back came with a bumper.
Came with a consequence.
Everyone, you know, so I'm glad that, you know, some people be like, oh man, you know, it ain't cool, you know, if you have educated parents and all that, but where we come from, it's cool because it ain't corny to have a mother and a father that teach. And then after that, my father became the dean of arts and sciences. So once I graduated from high school, I got into computer science. So he was my dean.
Right, right.
I had to report to him if I had any problems, and I had to also report to him if teachers were saying I was skipping school, because I got to that point I was starting to hang out with the boys, and you know, you want to do all the stuff you ain't supposed to be doing, and I was doing all of that too. I mean, you know, my parents know I was into dirt. You know what I'm saying? My sisters know I was into dirt. They were hearing all the drug stories. They were hearing all that. I was going to Acres Homes. I was going to Northside. I was going around, even you know, getting things to keep me popping so that we could serve the athletes on campus that needed it to get high. Like I was really that much into the wrong thing, but still with a good heart to want to balance my life out and to not ever let my parents down or hurt their feelings of thinking they did something wrong with how they raised me, because they did raise me right.
No question.
So,
what took you to New York?